Hey folks, this is going to be a video about the current political moment. When Donald Trump first announced his aspirations for presidency back in 2016, one of the first things out of his mouth was Mexico is sending rapists into the United States of America. And basically starting then, I wrote him off. And then, in the weeks that followed, he said more hateful stuff. And I said, oh, this is clearly a vile man. I have no overlap with this guy. And then he was president, and then he wasn't, and now he's running again. And a certain confusion has set in for me because recently a lot of people that I would have, and still do to some extent, identify with politically have thrown their gusto in for Donald Trump. For example, there's Russell Brand.
To people that would never consider voting for Donald Trump, it is to them that I reach out in earnest and say, if you care about democracy, if you care about freedom, if you care about ending war, if you care about your children's health, ultimately if you care about freedom, this is the time for you to do something decisive and different.
There's Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again?
And there's even Charles Eisenstein, who's a writer who I admire very much. He wrote this article whose whole point was like advising Donald Trump on what he's got to do if he wants to become a really good leader. And that was the really confusing one for me because Charles Eisenstein, to his credit, has always been, in my opinion, very, very thoughtful. And even in the places where I disagree with him, it seems like he has the earth and goodness at his core. And also in his next article, Charles said that he disagrees with everything Donald Trump says, both in content and in form. So I went and I took a look back. I looked at some old videos of the old Trumpinator to get a sense of if maybe there was something I was missing. Maybe there was actually some kernel of goodness in him that was always there and just was sort of obscured through media bias and maybe just a few of the more colorful things he would say. In my last video, I did say I would take a trip to the abyss.
Please come to the abyss at your earliest convenience.
So that is what I have done.
Will totally accept the results of this great and historic presidential election if I win.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters.
That's a famous Mussolini quote. You retweeted it. You like the quote? Did you know it was Mussolini?
It's okay to know it's Mussolini. Look, Mussolini was Mussolini. It's okay to...
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle?
The answer is that there has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, there has to be some.
I'm going to take such good care of women's health care issues.
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve it.
We have good stuff. We have great genes in this room. We have smart people.
A lot of it's about the genes, isn't it? Don't you believe? The racehorse theory, you think we're so different?
I want surveillance of certain mosques.
And I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
I love the old days. You know what they used to do to guys like that when they were in a place like this? They'd be carried out on a stretcher. I have such respect for women.
Every woman lied when they came forward to hurt my campaign. All of these liars will be sued after the election.
Gitmo, right? Guantanamo Bay, which by the way, we are keeping open. And we're going to load it up with some bad dudes, believe me. It's in the genes, it's in the blood, right? It's in the blood. One thing I can promise you this. I will always tell you the truth.
This was locker room talk.
And Mexico will pay.
Please excuse me, I watched those videos like 100 times making this video. I had to wash myself clean. I really don't understand how this mythology around Donald Trump as an anti-establishment candidate has built up. How is Donald Trump the candidate who's going to take care of children's health and regulate all these food companies when he has been very clear he wants to deregulate across all sectors of the economy? How is Donald Trump the candidate who's going to build up the middle class when, as one of the very first things he did as president, he enacted huge tax cuts for the mega rich, transferring wealth way, way up to the top 1%? How is Donald Trump the candidate who is going to stop war when he's been very clear he stands with Israel and he wants to invest in the military and make it stronger? And how is Donald Trump the candidate who's going to get rid of corruption? He is the corruption. He lies all the time. When he started his presidency, he gave all of his cabinet positions to corporate CEOs, like the CEO of ExxonMobil, the CEO of a defense company. I mean, this is the next level of corruption. This is not politicians who take bribes from corporations. This is just the corporations themselves running the government. That is what he embodies. It really seems to me like it's kind of a sort of a the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing. In the United States, we've got a two-party system, and so you have to everybody just gets siloed into one of these either two sides. And so for all the people who, for very justifiable reasons, hate the Democrats and see them as the true evil, just anybody who's against that, I guess, kind of becomes like the hero. I really think that's what it is, because the man is awful. He's really, really bad.